Today, we're building this Freelancer Project Management Tool with Frontly and Google Sheets. Hey guys, welcome to another episode. So today we're taking a bit more detailed look into Frontly and how you can use it to build robust internal tools. Freelancer project management platform where we internally as a business can track projects that we hire freelancers for. We'll be able to create new projects and assign one or more freelancers to work on a project. It's quite a simple idea, but it's a great way to portray how we can quickly build those internal platforms that can speed up our workflows and add another layer of organizational structure to our work. Now, before we get started, keep in mind Frontly is a paid product if you want to launch your projects, but if you just want to try it out and build things, you can do it completely for free. And I have a link in the description below where you can sign up. It's a referral link, so if you get a plan through this link, you'll be supporting the channel. I also want to remind you that I recently started a newsletter a couple of months back where I share my thoughts on productivity, business, startups, no-code, things like that. So you can sign up, it's completely free, and if you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe, link in the description below. So let's switch to my computer screen and get started. Let's start by reviewing our own project brief. So I have a brief description here of what our project will have. It will be an internal freelancer project management portal. Essentially, it would allow us to detail our own projects and then assign freelancers to work on those projects, just as a simple organizational tool internally for our own business. In terms of functions or pages, we have a freelancers list, which will display all the freelancers with some details. We'll be able to open each of the freelancers to get more details. We'll be able to add freelancers through a form, and of course, we'll be able to edit and delete them. And the same thing for our projects. The only difference is that for each project, we'll be able to assign freelancers. And this is explained here pretty much in the details and logic. And in terms of our database structure, we'll have the freelancers table and the projects table. So we'll only have two tables. The first one, the freelancers, will keep track of name, email, phone number, and skills. I'll skip the ID because Frontly will add those automatically. And of course, you can add as many separate fields and details here as you want. And I'll show you how to easily add them to your forms and tables, etc. For the projects table, similarly, we'll skip the ID because it will be automatically populated. We'll have a project name, a brief for the project, the status, and the assigned freelancer IDs. I went ahead and pre-populated some data in a Google worksheet. So I have Freelance Projects Manager. This is our freelancers tab or freelancers table in terms of if you look at it as a database. I have the name, email, phone number, and a list of skills. Those are like dummy data that I generated with ChatGPT. And then for projects, we have 5 projects with different briefs, different statuses, and the freelancer ID is empty right now, but we can just add one ID for now, just so we have something that's portrayed when we start building our Frontly app, and then we'll be able to assign multiple IDs. And it just went from 1 through 5, and those will be as soon as Frontly adds its separate column, Frontly ID, at the front. The first 5 will be with IDs 1 through 5. Now that we have our database set up and we know what we want to build, let's go ahead to Frontly. Just gonna hit new app. Gonna start from scratch. I'm gonna name this. Let me just copy this from here. Freelancer Project Management. For subdomain, let's say Freelancer Projects or something like that. I'm gonna copy my existing Google connection. It's really easy to set up your connection. You just follow Frontly's prompts and you authorize Frontly to access your Google account. I'm gonna hit create app and we have our app. So the first thing we wanna do is I'm gonna go to Google Sheets and import our spreadsheet. I'm gonna hit import spreadsheet and you see here that it asks us for the URL. Go here, copy this URL. It doesn't matter which tab you're on. Paste it here, import sheet. It's gonna figure out the tables that are available, and I'm gonna pick both of those, import wait a few seconds. So before we move over to building our interface, we want to make sure that we set up our relations between our data tables. We're going to add the relation. Our main sheet will be freelancers, and want to be able to link those freelancers to our project. So here we'll have the Frontly ID from the freelancers. This is the new column that Frontly added when we connected our Google Sheet. And for projects, we'll have freelancer ID. I'm going to select the name of the freelancer as a display name if we are using drop downs and things like that to pick the freelancers that are related to each project. And I'm going to save the data relations. Now that we have our database set up, let's go ahead and start adding our pages. We'll start with our freelancers page. Gonna name it freelancers, URL is fine, create page. And here we'll have a table. Those are the items, the blocks that you can use, and you can go to the three dots here to see all the blocks that are available. And we'll talk about a few of them, but really want to keep this as simple as possible and just build a project that would allow you to experience what Frontly can do and understand the logic behind how it works. Start with a table. I'm going to select a spreadsheet, freelancers, and it automatically populated with our data. The first thing I want to change is I don't want to only have 5 items and then so many pages. I'm going to go to advanced and results per page, just change it to 10 so we'll be able to see a bit more data. Let's go back to the basics tab and let's start going from the top to bottom and setting up a few things. So in terms of actions, there are 2 types of actions. So this is the basic one, is what happens when we click on any of the rows. And we have the default view, custom action. Custom action is if you want to like navigate to a different page or run a webhook or something like that. We won't be looking at this right now. And then the default view and the custom view, they're both views for editing or portraying additional data. The difference is that with the default view, you get a form for editing the record. And with the custom view, you get to build the view on your own that's shown. So you can use any of the blocks here. But the issue with the custom view is that there's no option to have a delete button. And we want to be able to delete the freelancers. So that's why we're not going to be loading additional data as we click on a row. Instead, clicking on the row would allow us to edit the data for the specific freelancer. We'll leave it at default view and then let's edit the detailed view. So you see we're in freelancers in the detail view, and that's how it looks. It has the name here, and I don't know why it doesn't have a label. Let's add the label here. So we have the name, the email, the phone number, and the skills. Here at the top, we have the permissions, allow editing, allow deleting. Want to be able to do both of those. Then we also have the options to pile on specific actions after editing or deleting. We don't need that for now. And in terms of fields, we want to be able to edit all the fields. So we're going to leave all of them turned on. But I want to rearrange this a bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is down here at the bottom, I'm going to say I want it to be 900 pixels because I want those to be on one row. And then I'm going to enlarge this skills field so we can type in more skills or some notes or something like that. Alternatively, you have the option to open this in a full page, but for a form, for editing just a few details, I think a model works best because we're not leaving the page, it just opens up and the user knows where they are. I want to make sure that our name is required. So we're going to go to it, then field validation, it's required, okay. And they're all required by default. I also want to make sure that our email field is an email, so it's a valid email. And for our skills, we'll go to show advanced settings. And what I want to do here is I want the column span to be 3 columns. I'm going to fill the whole row. I also want to switch it to a text area. And I want to make it 200 pixel min height, so we have a nice large space to type in any details for their skill set. I also don't like this record details up here, but we'll rename the custom view label. I'm gonna say edit freelancer details, And that's our edit thing done. So we have the save button here and also the delete button if we want to delete a freelancer. I'm going to go back to freelancers, select our table, and let's move to filters. We don't need any filtering here. We're not hiding anything, but just so you know, visible filters are filters that you can add up here where users can filter if you have like a categorical data. Hidden fields are allowing us to limit what we're showing without the user being able to tell, and we'll use that in a bit as well. And we can also add a search filter or not, and I'm going to leave it here because as we pile more freelancers that we're working with, I want to be able to search those. Really don't like this new record button up here, so let's fix that. Let's go to advanced, and in terms of the content, we're going to name our item label freelancer, and now this is going to be new freelancer. Another thing that we want to do is we want to be able to look at all the details for a freelancer and all the projects they're assigned to. For this reason, we're going to add an action, a row action, and this is going to be under the dots here, and we'll be able to load additional details for the specific record. I'm going to click this action to edit it. I'm going to rename it to view details. And our step type, what we'll do is we'll navigate to the same page. So I'm going to pick navigate to page, select freelancers, but we'll add a URL parameter. And this URL parameter will be freelancer ID. And we'll pick from here, from the plus sign, we can insert a variable. I'm going to pick the record. This references the row that we're on. Pick the record. And I'm going to say Frontly ID. This is the ID from here for our freelancer. Frontly ID. And that's our action here. So now let's save our page and preview it. And you'll see we have our freelancers here. We can go through the pages. You can click on any of those to open them for editing. You have the delete button here. And if you make changes, you have the save button. Yes, I want to close. And then if you click the three dots, we have view details. And you see nothing happens on the page. But up here, we now have freelancer ID equals 1 as a URL parameter. And we'll use that to show additional details on the page. Let's go back to the editor. And what I'll add now is a container. So we'll add a row container, which would allow us to organize blocks next to each other. And then within this row container, I'm gonna add blocks. The first one I wanna add is an info list. It's a way to present data for a single record. This info list is gonna be our freelancers. And you see here that it's asking for a row ID, so which row we wanna show. And what we can do here from the plus sign is pick URL parameters and pass it our URL parameter freelancer ID. Insert that, and you see that now we have data for this. I'm going to change the label to freelancer details, and now we have this one. So let's select the row by clicking out of it, and I'm going to add another block, which is going to be a table. And in this table, I want to show the projects that this freelancer is assigned to. So I'll select the projects table, but this would list all the projects. And I only want to see projects that are related to this freelancer. In order to do that, I'm going to go to filters, and we're going to add a hidden filter. And this hidden filter will be that the freelancer ID is our freelancer ID from our URL. But we're not going to use equals because remember, we can add multiple freelancers. So this freelancer ID field can contain numerous freelancers. So we'll say contains, and then we'll use the plus sign, URL parameter, and say freelancer ID here. And that way in runtime, when we're looking at it live, this will only show projects that this freelancer belongs to. We're gonna leave the search filter, and I wanna remove the new record. I don't wanna be able to add from here. So go to basic and say, where was it? Allow creating new records. I'm gonna turn it off. I also don't want to show all these details. You see those undefined. This is because in our relationships for our database, we didn't name our relation with freelancer. So it says undefined, but It's not a problem. We're not showing those anyway, and we can always go there and rename it. Just want to say the project name and the status. I don't want to see the briefing or anything. Let's save the page, hit preview again. I'm gonna close this one. And you see now that our list loads here, but this is empty. As soon as we go to actions, view details, this changes to ID too, but nothing happens here. And this is because these blocks are already loaded. However, if we refresh the page, then you see that the data is loaded. But we want to be able to simply hit view details and this to load. So I'm gonna go back to the editor, select this freelancers table, and we'll go to our advanced row actions, view details, and we'll add a new step. So the new step will be refresh blocks. And this is a really neat feature that they added recently is after this action navigate to page is complete, we have the ability to refresh specific block. Here we want to refresh our freelancer details and our project. So the two blocks down that are portraying specific data related to the currently selected freelancer ID. And while we're at it, I also want to make something else. I'm going to grab the whole row. I'm going to go to advanced, and here under display conditions, I'm going to add a condition for when this is displayed. And my condition will be that I want the URL parameter freelancer ID. I want it to exist. So I don't want it to be null or blank. Let's save, let's preview. And now, because we don't have this freelancer ID set up here, we're not seeing the other blocks. But as soon as we go to actions, view details, and we pick one of the freelancers, those are loaded down here. I actually think it would be better if this is above. So let's go ahead and just grab this, move it up here, and that's it. If you want to extend this more, you can have like messaging with those freelancers in the future where they can log in, leave a message, things like that. So you can add numerous more views here showing different things. But for now, I think this is enough to like get your feet wet with Frontly. So the only thing left to do is to add our projects page. I'm gonna exit here, say new page, projects, create page. And it's gonna be a simple one. Again, just a table. This table, I wanted to show the names, and let's just import that to freelancer and S in brackets. So this is where freelancers will be listed. I don't want to see their emails here. I don't want their phone numbers or their skills listed. Just want to have the project, the brief, and the state. You see here that those cut off. So what I can do is if I click on it here, or I can do it from here as well, character limit, let's make it 150. And you can play with those and see how those would distribute. But that's all the data I want. And in terms of adding new projects, I'll leave this new record, but I'm gonna rename it to project. Since this is the only thing we'll have on this page, results per page, I'm just gonna list it as 100. I'll leave the search field. We can also go to this display section here and our edit field. Let's say edit project, and then create project. I don't want it to be new project. I want it to be create project. So next thing, if we go back to basic, we can edit the detail view. And here what we'll have is, again, I'm gonna switch this to 900 pixels. I'm gonna move the brief at the bottom. So now I have the project name, the status, the freelancer IDs, and I'm actually gonna change the label here to freelancers, and brief, I'm gonna change to project brief, and I'll make it a text area, show advanced settings. I want to make it 3 columns, and I want the minimum height to be 300. I want to have a lot of room to describe our project. And here we're going to say edit project details. Go back to the projects page, save it, and let's preview. We have our projects here, and they have no freelancers. And I think the issue here is this undefined label that we had. So if we exit here, go to Google Sheets and edit relational data, we just name this freelancer for the custom ID, save data relations, come here, refresh, and now we got all the fields added back again because it's not undefined anymore. It recognized it and it added them all again. And I don't want to have those. So go to Pages, Projects, select this. And once again, I'm going to say, I don't want the email. I don't want their phone numbers. I don't want their skills. Save, preview. And now we have our freelancer name. And yeah, we forgot to change it to freelancers, but we'll do that in a bit. And what we can do if we select any of the projects is we can change the freelancer. But you see, we cannot select multiple freelancers. So let's go back to our editor, and in our edit detail view, we're gonna pick this freelancers field, and we'll say that it's a multi-select. Save page, preview. And now if we edit any of the projects, we can add multiple freelancers, save that. And you see here that we get a list of freelancers. So now let's go ahead, extend this. So we get more than 2 names, and to also change this to freelancers. Go back to our editor. I'm gonna go back to project, select that. And here where it says freelancer name, let's change that to freelancers. And let's make the character limit 150. Save, preview. And now we see all the names that we selected here. We can edit this at any time, and we can change our status. Right now we have in progress, completed, planning, and you see here that we only get in progress and completed. So let's go and fix that. If we go back to projects, go to edit detail view and select our status, you see here that it only detected 2 of those. So we'll add, first one will be not started. So it's a new project. And just gonna leave the value the same. Next one will be in progress, and next one will be completed. And those will be the allowed values for our status. Save this and preview. And now we have our not started, in progress, and completed. And that's the basic functionality is done. We have our projects and our freelancers here. I prefer projects to be in the front, and I don't want this like weird icon. So let's go and fix that. In order to change the icon, we go to the page settings. So we unselect everything or click here, page. And here we have this navigation icon. Let's say file or maybe folder. Yep, this is I'm gonna save the page, gonna go to freelancers, and for icon here, gonna say person. Yep, select the person, save this as well. I actually wanna change something else. I don't really like when sites are this wide. So for each page, I'm gonna go to the page settings, and for max width, I'm gonna select 1200 pixels. And you see that this messed up our view here. And one of the reasons is that here for the project, we got all those additional details added again when we fixed the undefined error. So I'm gonna go here and say that I don't really need the freelancer details at all because I already have them here. So just need the project name and the status, and I can add the project brief as well. Maybe even make it 75. Yep, that's good. Okay, save page. Then I'm gonna go to project as well. Switch that to 1200 pixels. Save, and now let's go ahead and fix our navigations. I'm gonna go out of here, go to settings, and then navigation. I want it to be header. You can also have it as a sidebar, but I think unless you have like a ton of options, header is fine. And just a side note, if you switch to sidebar, it's a good idea to add sections. They're gonna look similar to this menu here that Frontly has. So section, items, section, items. And what I wanna do here is move projects above freelancers. I also don't like this background, something more like playful. You can use brand colors here, things like that. I'm actually gonna copy this. I'm gonna make it my primary color as well. Save changes. And now let's go ahead and personalize a bit more. So for general, our default page will be projects once we log in. Want to do some branding. I'm gonna pick the primary color, the same one, but I'm gonna make it a bit lighter than our navigation color. Then I'm gonna add a logo, added this random image as a logo. I don't need the SEO image for now. And for navigation logo, I'm gonna use the same thing. And for And also for the fav icon, this is this here that would appear next to the name of our website. And I actually want to hide the Frontly badge, and you might need to upgrade for that, but I have it as part of my AppSumo deal. Save that. Then for styling, I don't really have anything against all the different settings here. This all looks good for me. We already went through navigation. Through authentication, I'm gonna disable sign up because I want this to be an internal tool, and I wanna make sure that only users that I add can access it. So there's no like a sign up form when you go to the website. I'm gonna change any forgot password email. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. And we can also add a domain name here, and it would ask you to add a text record to your domain DNS zones, and gonna use this domain to serve your website. And yep, not gonna go over the other features within the settings. The only thing left to do is to go to users and to add the users that you want to have access. And now that we're done, let's go to view live app. And this is our live app. You get your login screen ready straight out of the box. And if you enable signups, it's gonna have a link here, no account, sign up here. So let me sign up here. And it takes me to my projects page. I have the projects here, a bit of a side scroll, which I don't usually like. So you might wanna go in and reduce the character limit here, or go back to 100% page width. You see we have our icons here, and we have our logo and our fav icon up here. We can create new projects. That's project 1, gonna be not started, and we're gonna add John Smith and Bernie Smith and Jennifer White as freelancers, and our project brief will be, I don't know, come up with the next big thing fast. Save that, and we have our new project. So now if you go to freelancers and we view details for Bernie Smith, we'll see that now he's also part of a test project. And there's something that we forgot to do here. You see that I'm able to click here and it allows me to edit the project. I don't want to be able to do that from here. So I'm gonna go back to the editor, gonna go into our freelancers page, and here for this projects table, gonna go to record click action, default view none, and I'm gonna save the page. If I go back here and refresh, you see that I can no longer open the detail view. There you have it, your own internal platform where you can track projects with freelancers. And the same concepts apply to pretty much anything that you need to track in terms of project management, or even a simple CRM that's entirely tailored to your needs. So you can build that in Frontly with Google Sheets as a backend. And I found out that using Google Sheets as a backend is actually pretty great, because a lot of the projects that I want to build are things that I already track in Excel. So it's really simple to just upload my Excel files to Google Sheets, add a few more details here and there, and then use Frontly to link all the tables together and get a nice UI experience. And I can invite other people to have access, but be limited in what they can do to the underlying database. If you enjoyed this video, you're probably gonna like this one for automations in make.com and how you can use those to speed up your daily workflow. Thank you guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and maybe even punch the bell icon to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. Till then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.